sources of revenue. Has the time come to legalize and tax the sale of marijuana? Why or why not?
No, it has not. The issue of legalizing drugs is one that has enormous implications for our social fabric. It has enormous implications for families, for violence, for other issues. That's not to say that we are winning the war on drugs with the way we're fighting it. I don't believe we are. And I am open to a variety of creative new ways, both on the supply side and the demand side, for us to deal with this issue. I know that state by state, different states are taking different approaches, both in the medicinal context and beyond. I believe that the implications of legalizing are too costly. When you think, even growing up, for me, the social stigma was not there against drunk driving. By criminalizing it, by making it more and more serious, by taking away people's licenses, we have seen dramatic reductions in drunk driving and the costs of life that it imposes. So while I respect those who have a wide range of opinions on this, I've even talked to folks in law enforcement who believe it's worthy of consideration. I think at this point that is not the case. I do also want to mention, because Mr. Clark was talking about these 20-year downturns and why we don't deal with it. And I've been harsh on both parties tonight, but I think we need to give credit where credit's due. That's exactly what President Clinton did in the 1990s. During the good times, he made very difficult decisions. A lot of Democrats made a decision in 1993 that helped balance the budget and cost some of them their seats in Congress. That's the kind of patriotism that puts country ahead of self-interest. That was using the good times, as every family and every business does. When you have a good year, you try to make sure that you save up a little because you know it's not going to go on forever. The decision of conservative economic policy, including President Bush and the Republican Congress, to blow that surplus, to blow it when we had finally made the difficult decisions to get us out of this mess, where we could start investing, where we could start shoring up these things, was disastrous. It not only helped lead to the economic crash that we saw, but it put us in a position where we came into it cash poor, while China came into the same economic crash cash rich, which meant while things are severely undervalued right now in the market, China is buying things up. We aren't in a position to do the kind of building that we could do right now to rebuild our competitive advantage. So this isn't just a coincidence, and this isn't something where we can paint both sides with the same brush. I agree that both parties have a lot to answer for, but I think we do have to look at the conservative economic policies that really took us off the rails, simply because people, including Senator Hurt, continue to stand by the same policies that got us into the ditch. I'm not into looking to the past for the sake of the past, but you do have to learn from history or else you repeat it.
Well, the issue of legalizing drugs often comes up whenever I address libertarian-minded people, and they have certainly some strong opinions. Let me say this. If we lived in an ideal society where everybody accepted responsibility for themselves, accepted responsibility for their children, understand what it meant to interact with one another and be a responsible citizen in a free republic, then maybe legalizing drugs would be accepted. Maybe liberty would be more important than regulation. But at this particular point, people are far too dependent on many things, dependent on government, dependent on alcohol, dependent on drugs. We are a society that binds ourselves because we have lost our identity. We don't understand what it means anymore to be self-reliant. We don't understand what it means to just reach down and really try to change our lives. If you talk to people who were ever on drugs, they understand that it wasn't government programs that got them off. It was when they looked their children in the eye and they couldn't stand the thought of their children seeing them deteriorate further, so they stopped it. It's not that those things can't help, but currently in our current status, I think it's in our society just wouldn't bear the burden. The cost would be too great if we were to legalize drugs now.